The KEEL Morning Show with Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Breaking news and trending talk on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Good morning, 3 past 6 o'clock. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Way down there. Erin, local news is getting ready now.
TOPS could be fully funded. At what cost? We'll take a look at that. One local neighborhood is still in recovery mode and will be for several days. Meantime, SWEPCO crews are working feverishly to restore power.
She's not running for mayor, but it sounds like she is. If you haven't seen the story at keelnews.com, we will discuss momentarily. And it could be a big gun control day in Baton Rouge today. Talk about that just a little bit. Fletcher in sports and traffic and weather. And it's all coming up. Very evangelical. And it's all coming up this hour, and it's here on KEEL.
Scene 11. The power of information. KEEL News now.
The first draft of the budget funds TOPS, but at what cost? Matt Parker with that.
The House Appropriations Committee has drafted the first budget to submit to the full House for a vote. In the new budget that is attempting to close a $600 million shortfall, the committee made it clear they want and have every desire to fully fund TOPS and GO grants. However, to balance the budget and fund those two programs, several sacrifices had to be made. The new budget cuts $22 million from higher education and leaves safety net hospitals severely underfunded and, according to some, on the brink of closing. Governor John Bel Edwards says the budget isn't worth the paper it's printed on. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
The Shreveport neighborhood still recovering from the weekend storms, and it could take months for the Queensboro area to recover. City and parish leaders are requesting a disaster declaration to help fund repairs. Meantime, SWEPCO crews working feverishly to return power after the storms knocked out power to more than 30,000 customers. SWEPCO says they expect to have the power restored to everyone by 10 p.m. this evening. Jonathan Richardson, the man accused of killing Renita Williams live on Facebook and shooting a Shreveport police officer, is now being held on a $2.5 million bond. Richardson is charged with second-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, and several other charges. Chief Alan Crump says Officer Robert Intrican, the officer who was wounded, is resting and expected to make a full recovery. The full House takes up a bill today that would prohibit you from holding your cell phone while you're driving. Jennifer Smith of StopDistractions.org says 15 other states currently have a similar law. She says a reduction in crashes and cell phone use while driving have been noted in Oregon.
Once the Oregon law was changed to the same basis of the phone cannot be in the driver's hand, they saw a 2% reduction in use behind the wheel.
Behind the wheel in Bossier, you'll have to slow down if you're traveling on Benton Road. Officials have lowered the speed limit on Benton Road in an attempt to reduce crashes. They dropped the speed limit from 65 to 55 on the 6-mile stretch that runs from Wimple Road to Burt Boulevard. A police officer in Baton Rouge is appealing his suspension over a deadly confrontation with a black man whose shooting death set off widespread protests 2 years ago. In a petition, an attorney for Officer Howie Lake II asked the Civil Service Board to rescind his 3-day suspension. Starbucks is trying to tamp down a racially charged uproar over the arrest of 2 black men at one of its stores in Philadelphia. Protests are expected again today. And a Florida man said the letter O from a Hooters sign blew off the wall and landed on his foot, leaving him hurt. But surveillance video said otherwise. The manager of the store says the video actually shows the sign falling onto the sidewalk and hitting no one. The man's now been arrested for insurance fraud. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
9 past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Traffic time. Ruben's ready.
Everything's looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Kings Highway near Gilbert Drive due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Sunny today, turning breezy and warmer with a high of 83. Becoming partly cloudy tonight. It'll stay breezy and milder with a low of 61. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Ten past 6 o'clock, Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Keel app's a free download from Office Furniture Source. Let's see, what else? Shreveport Security Systems text line 318-392-1884. I mentioned that early on because, well, for a reason. Because I don't believe what you say. I think, in fact, you are planning a mayoral run.
Not happening.
The segment from yesterday is at keelnews.com. That's keelnews.com. The headline is, Erin McCarty says she's not running for mayor, but it sure sounds like it.
I had someone stop me yesterday and say, "Are you running?"
My point exactly.
I thought, no, I just went off, and then I had a moment.
That's pretty accurate also.
And that's okay.
Actually, you had about 3.5 or 4 minutes. You said I had a moment. Well, it was an extended moment.
Yeah, it was an extended moment,
And
which is
basically,
okay.
you put yourself in the mayor's chair and said, if I were mayor, that this is what I would do. And you said basically what, well, you can, I don't want the spittle to start flying again.
It might.
I don't want to have to get the goggles. You're
It might.
exchanging body fluids with the painters out in the hall. Those guys.
And this is no reflection on the current mayor or this is in general. If I were mayor, our leader of our city must put economic development and jobs at the top of the list. Whatever else is out there, this will help. This will help solve our crime problem. This will help solve our people leaving our town.
Do you think Louisiana, being Louisiana, hurts Shreveport? Because I can make the case it does.
Yeah, and I sent you a piece. I don't know if I forwarded it to you
No.
from the Hayride. Guys disputing that claim we talked about last week from LSU, saying that we're undertaxed and we have.
What was the fellow's name? Not Roberts. What was it? Hold on just a second. I will have you just keep
Richardson, I think.
Yes, that was it. Yes.
They're disputing that claim, and they're talking about jobs in Louisiana and that we have actually lost jobs while our neighbors in Texas have gained jobs. Mississippi has gained jobs. Louisiana has lost jobs.
I saw an interview on a New Orleans talk station because they, like us, stream their live studio video. And then it is like ours available for people, listeners to look at, viewers to look at after the show with Stephen Wagasback. And he made the point on the New Orleans station, the exact point that he's made here repeatedly, that the biggest problem with Louisiana is that power is so centralized in Baton Rouge. How many times have you heard me say, I am starting to bore myself. What does Texas do? We don't. We should start.
Yep.
What do we do? Texas doesn't. We should quit. And Wags makes the point, not only with us on more than one occasion, but on this with these New Orleans guys, who, by the way, aren't as good as you. With these New Orleans guys, that the problem with Louisiana is that power is so centralized, i.e., all the money goes to Baton Rouge, to that morass, M-O-R-A-S-S, pronounce
appropriate.
Thank you very much. The morass of bureaucracy that exists in our state's capital and goes through all these layers of redistribution before the money that you send to Baton Rouge in some markedly lesser way gets back to you. Where in Texas, the predominant tax is the property tax and local taxes, and the power in Texas lies in the county seat.
And the county seat here is Shreveport. And what our leaders should do, and I told you this yesterday, is put together a crackerjack economic development team.
Watch the language.
These are job hunting gurus. They go out, they seek, they find, they badger all these companies that
In
are
other words,
looking to.
basically, you just need to come up with some money for Scott Musket to travel around.
Somebody like that to go around to these companies and go, here's where you want to locate your company. Here's where you want to move. Here's where we got great workers. We've got great infrastructure. But here's the problem. We don't have any money. So I, as mayor, if I were to be in charge, I would go out to the chambers of commerce, to the big economic development groups, to the big businesses, and say, you're going to help me fund this. You're going to help me fund this. Bob's Biscuits, okay? Bob has a biscuit company.
Don't you know what my weekend gig was?
Bob's Biscuits is going to help fund this.
Right.
Now, this might bring in Matt's Biscuits to compete with Bob's Biscuits. But you know what? You'll both sell more biscuits if Matt's Biscuits comes to town, because those folks might not like Matt's Biscuits. They might like yours. Everybody benefits. Even though, yes, you might be bringing competition to town, everybody will benefit.
So
crime rates will go down because more people are working. There'll be more tax money flowing in because more people will have money to spend and buy homes, etc. It's just a no-brainer.
So back to my initial point.
Get aggressive.
Does being part of Louisiana hurt our economic development?
The tax structure in the state hurts. But you have to play in the game that you've got the referees for.
Why don't we just become part of Texas? Maybe Southern Arkansas. We could be Southern Arkansas.
That's far-fetched. That's not going to happen. But my idea could
wait
happen.
a second. You say that's you got to play with the cards you're dealt. Yeah, but isn't an important part of that figuring out a way? I mean, look, what's Louisiana's other side? Well, maybe the other side we should promote is we're not like those guys down there. You send $20 million down there and suddenly half of it vanishes. Maybe the other side we need to promote is we're not like the we're not the old guard of Louisiana. We're not that money trap.
We're new. We're fresh.
Where dollars go to die.
We're at the intersection of two major freeways. There are very few cities like this.
Maybe instead of Louisiana's other side, and I am 100% serious, instead of Louisiana's other side, maybe the moniker, the motto, the slogan for this part of the state should be Louisiana's moral side.
Ooh. Or Louisiana's best side.
17 past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Also a couple of comments yesterday on, man, how come your show was so racial yesterday?
Huh?
And I went, well, there was, in fact, where I said that gun control advocates are racist.
Yeah.
And if you missed it, I can certainly back that up. Your eyes got big. You went, what are you talking about?
You're kind of nutty.
I think I'm 100% on the money, and today could be a very, very, very big day in Baton Rouge for gun control people. And there was one other, and I'd have to open my phone, and it's rude. Just like if I'm at lunch or dinner with somebody.
Leave the phone alone.
I don't go to the phone. Tell me about that real quick, by the way.
What?
A law in Louisiana that would forbid.
You cannot be holding your phone while you're behind the wheel.
In other words, you've got to have Bluetooth. You've got to have speakers. You've got to have hands-free device.
Yep. Several other states have that law in place, and they say it is helping stop crashes.
18 past 6 o'clock, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Fletcher in sports, just a couple of seconds away, plus traffic and weather updates coming up on Keel. Nineteen past 6, 1017 FM, 710 Keel, Reuben, and traffic.
Everything's still looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Benton Road, just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, turning breezy and warmer with sunshine and a high of 83 today, remaining breezy and milder tonight, turning partly cloudy with a low of 61. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Twenty past 6 already. I'm just working too hard. Time for sports. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. The LHSAA softball playoffs began yesterday. Three-time defending Class 4A state champ North DeSoto started the drive for title number 4 with a 16-1 thumping of Breaux Bridge. The Lady Griffins await the winner of today's Leesville Lakeshore game. A win on Friday would send North DeSoto back to Sulphur for the state tournament. The Times reports that Bailey McMillan scorched a homer and picked up the win in the circle. Brittlin Garrett homered twice in the win. Other scores, Northwood beat Riverdale 3-0. North Caddo was bounced by Rapides 6-0. Lakeside over Vidalia 2-1. Huntington was bounced by Franklin Parish 16-0. Mansfield also suffered a 15-0 loss at Avoyelles Charter. Manny beat Red River 16-1. One night after 44-year-old Bartolo Colon handcuffed the World Series champs, Houston was baffled by Seattle's 29-year-old James Paxton. The Astros managed only 3 hits all night in a 2-1 loss. One of those, a leadoff homer from George Springer. After the debut tater, Paxton struck out 7 and surrendered just 2 more hits in 6 innings. Houston, who wasted a superb Justin Verlander effort 2 nights ago, got a great start from Dallas Keuchel, who threw 8 innings of 6-hit ball, yet still fell to 0-3. And Tampa Bay snapped a 4-game losing streak with an 8-4 win in St. Petersburg over Texas. Tonight, the Pelicans try to take a 2-0 lead in the playoffs with a win in Portland. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
Twenty-two past 6, Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Once again, that Shreveport Security Systems text line is 318-392-1884. I am intrigued by my own question. Is the rest of Louisiana dragging us down? I.e., as far as Shreveport as far as Northwest Louisiana economic development goes is the reputation of Louisiana, is the way that state government is set up to be so state government centric, that all the money goes to Baton Rouge, all the money from here goes to there before it comes back to here. Send it down here, we're going to take our cut. They're like money pimps.
Yeah.
You can't keep your own money. That's what they do in Texas.
Right. We need to figure that out. We got to figure that out. We got to solve that problem because I think the state is hurting Shreveport-Bossier.
So when you see a lot of people calling for this constitutional convention idea, do you think that is even not on the front burner? Do you think it's even on the back burner to sort of redo a reset when it comes to how money and how taxation is who has the power? Can you really imagine, like I said to Wags, I think you were on vacation, Stephen Wagasback, Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. I said, can you really imagine a scenario where anybody in Baton Rouge in the current administration with the current power structure in Baton Rouge, from the governor, the governorship in Louisiana, the way it is set up, power-wise, is one of the most powerful governors in the United States.
Absolutely.
In the United States.
And is that a good thing? I think not. I think not.
Send all your money down here. We know what's best. We know what to do with your money better than you do. Speaking of money, Mr. Boiling over here, already he's a little... Ooh. What's the deal?
He's fired up.
There's a
well, the House Appropriations Committee has passed on the budget to the full House.
Right.
And it fully funds TOPS, but it cuts higher ed and it cuts health care. And some are saying the Lafayette General Hospital guy said if this budget goes through,
he closes.
We might have to close.
Yeah.
And I spoke with the local folks at University Health, and they said we can't take much more up here either. It's going to cripple some of the hospitals.
As I've said before, we have decided, as I don't remember voting on this, but we have decided as a state via our legislature that it is important that kids in Louisiana get college for at least a part of their college be paid for. That's just what we have decided. And am I overstating by saying all else be damned? That
you're close.
The most important thing in Louisiana is that the state government pick up the college tab for everybody, and I say everybody because it is just about everybody. I mean, what is it, like 3.2, a C average? They're going to pick up a portion the state will pay for your college tuition. What is it, $4,000 or something like that? Well, there's
something
a lot of,
like that.
That was one of the things they were talking about. I think they're fully funding it because that $346 million that recognized new revenue thanks to the federal tax laws, $233 million of that new money is going into TOPS. Then there's the Go Grants thing, which is getting like 20. And, they're cutting higher ed by $22 million. So, education's important to us. Yet we're not going to teach them when they're in middle or high school. We're just going to hope they make it to college and maybe learn something.
Here's what the problem they're running into right now as we speak.
Pardon me. Before you go into this explanation, attach this to your answer or to what you're about to say. If they're going to fund TOPS, which is the scholarship fund, explain to me how at the same time they will take money away from higher ed. What does that mean? You're funding one but not funding the other. Tell me about that too.
You would cut higher ed. You would cut, some programs might have to be cut. It would be up to the university where they would cut. They would have to end some programs. They would have to cut salaries. Some other ways they would have to trim. But here's the problem.
In other words,
here's what our lawmakers do over and over again, and it makes me so angry. The biggest problem at the moment is that you have college kids enrolling right now for where they're going this fall. Okay? So that is the number one priority because they need to know, do they have money to stay in Louisiana or do they need to go to UT or Arkansas or Ole Miss?
Well, understand that.
Wait, let me finish my point. So they're again kicking the can down the road. They're saying, let's fix the one that's got the flame is the biggest on. And let's burn some embers on this other one over here until maybe we can fix that in a month or two, which is ridiculous.
I think I agree with you 100%, but I think the constant refrain, the argument you hear over and over again, that if we don't fund Louisiana kids' college educations, they're suddenly going to go to UT, or that's not true. Because out-of-state tuition at those schools is still so incredibly more than staying in state. Mm-hmm. Look, what kids in Louisiana? I mean, competition. There's how many times have I said that? What all this scholarship stuff, what all this student loan stuff. It messes up supply and demand. There's no there. If fewer kids went to LSU,
right,
then they'd have to drop their tuition.
They'd have to drop prices to attract more kids.
Bingo.
Mm-hmm.
But then everybody always falls back on you. One of those, not mistakenly. Well, we made the promise.
Right. The problem you don't realize is that a lot of colleges now are waiving out of state tuition. In an effort to attract some students. They're waiving out of state tuition. Kids can go where they want, and they're going to siphon off our best and brightest.
In about 20 seconds.
Well, I was about to say, you know who they're siphoning off? Our best and brightest, but we're just giving free money to everybody. We're putting dummies. I'm sorry to insult your C student child, but we're putting these idiots at LSU instead of, maybe bringing in A students from Texas or somewhere else.
Because we promised them that. Stop promising.
So we're just going to ruin everything because we made a stupid promise 30 years ago.
No, let's phase it out.
That's my question.
Phase it out. Let's stop making the promise to sixth graders right now. Stop promising tops.
So that's the question. Is tops a bad deal?
No.
Overall,
it's not.
And he makes a hell of a point.
I think it needs tweaking.
Maybe instead of paying for C students to go to LSU or go to Tulane or go to Loyola or wherever it is they happen to want to go, maybe we ought to start trying to steal some of Texas's best and brightest. Or Utah's best and brightest, or the way you are so afraid they're going to steal ours. 29 past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL traffic update, and Ruben on KEEL.
Everything's looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Kings Highway near Gilbert Drive due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, sunny today, turning breezy and warmer with a high of 83. Becoming partly cloudy tonight, it'll stay breezy and milder with a low of 61. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
The first draft of the budget funds TOPS. That was one of the big amendments lawmakers approved.
This amendment restores the cuts made by the executive budget to the TOPS program and the GO grants and brings them up to the current funding levels. I think it's important now, since students are making decisions, to send a message to our students that it's our priority to fully fund TOPS and GO grants moving forward.
State Representative Franklin Foyle, however, to balance the budget and fund those programs, several sacrifices had to be made. The new budget cuts $22 million from higher ed and leaves safety net hospitals severely underfunded. Shreveport neighborhood still recovering from the weekend storms. Matt Parker with that.
It could take months for Shreveport's Queensboro neighborhood to recover from strong storms that rocked the Arklatex over the weekend. City and parish leaders are requesting a disaster declaration to help fund repairs. According to reports, hundreds of homes are still without power. It's estimated that at least 100 homes in the neighborhood sustained storm damage over the weekend. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Meantime, SWEPCO crews are working feverishly to get the juice back on. They expect to have the power restored to everyone by about 10 p.m. this evening. Over 30,000 customers were left in the dark during the storms. Bond has now been set for Jonathan Richardson. The man accused of killing Renita Williams is live on Facebook and shooting a Shreveport police officer. His bond is set at $2.5 million. Richardson is charged with second-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, and several other charges. Chief Alan Crump says Officer Robert Intrican, the officer who was wounded, is resting and expected to make a full recovery. The full House taking up a bill today that would prohibit you from holding your cell phone while driving. Opponents to the bill claim they need access to their phones at all times while driving. Many note the map feature is something they use on a regular basis while behind the wheel. But Jennifer Smith, the CEO of StopDistractions.org, says that's dangerous.
No one should be entering in an address when they're driving. Keeping focused, you are driving a 4,000-pound deadly weapon.
Officials in Bossier have lowered the speed limit on Benton Road in an attempt to reduce accidents. Officials dropped the limit from 65 to 55 on the 6-mile stretch that runs from Wemple Road to Burt Boulevard. A study from the DOTD recommended lowering the speed limit to reduce fatal crashes and increase driver safety. The U.S. Supreme Court hearing arguments in a case that has to do with a business's collection of sales taxes on online purchases. Right now, under a decades-old Supreme Court rule, if a business is shipping a product to a state where it does not have an office, a warehouse, or other physical presence, it doesn't have to collect the state's sales tax. More than 40 states say that rule is causing them to lose out on billions in tax revenues. Just how big a deal is it that Kendrick Lamar has won the Pulitzer Prize for music? The rapper has won 12 Grammys during his career, but not one of his 3 major releases has won Album of the Year. But he becomes the first non-classical or jazz artist to win the Pulitzer Prize. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Wow. Did you hear what he just said?
I did not.
Anger and sinus infection. Don't go. Not a good combination.
I think I'm about to spring a leak.
101 Colander Head. Great movie. Straight to video. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Did you hear what he said? Or did you step out for a second? Did you hear what he said during the break? About the whole TOPS deal. Oh, we got to fund TOPS. It's the most important thing we have. It's absolutely brilliant. I basically rewrote what you said. Here's what Matt said. We, Louisiana, we're near the bottom in education, but we're cutting funding to the state's elementary, middle, and high schools to pay for those kids' college tuitions. How much sense does that make?
That is kind of silly.
We're not preparing them whatsoever, but we want you to go to college, kid.
Yeah. Wait till you hear coming up in the 7 o'clock news, Administration Commissioner Jay Darden talking about our teaching universities, our medical schools around the state, and what could happen to them.
Why is all the cutting? Why is all the budget slashing? Why is all the pain distributed to things that are so important?
Because everything else is protected.
No.
The Nutria board is protected. The rice board is protected.
How many times have you asked the question?
We got to have Nutria.
Is how many people, and it goes back to your story from a million years ago about Caddo Parish schools, and how many people work for the schools and how many students there were 25 or 30 years ago, and how many people work for the schools now and how many students are in the schools now.
Absolutely. Everything grows in government.
Well, go ahead.
Everything grows except the things that really matter to most of us. And, you have more paper clips in every state office today. You have more cars. You have more travel. Everything grows.
And so to keep all of that, to keep the really expensive paper, to keep the top-of-the-line staplers, to keep the 25 people in whatever department it happens to be in Baton Rouge Public Relations Department for every single department there is, to quote the great Matt Parker once again, we're near the bottom in education, but we're cutting funding to the state's elementary, middle, and high schools to pay for those very same students who are going there to pay for their college tuitions. 639, 1017 FM, 710 KEEL traffic time. Ruben's ready.
Everything's still looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Benton Road, just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, sunny today, turning breezy and warmer with a high of 83. Becoming partly cloudy tonight, it'll stay breezy and milder with a low of 61. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
.642, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, 1017 FM, 710 KEEL, the KEEL app, a free download from Office Furniture Source. I noticed last night on Tom Gresham's Facebook page. Tom Gresham, Gun Talk host, Sundays 1 till 4 on Keel. It's go time, says Mr. Tom.
Uh-oh.
Now, see, normally we can just pick up the phone, and Tom he's always willing to talk with very little notice, and he's always awesome on the radio. One of the best
I
guests.
haven't called him. Do we need him?
We seriously, well, he's on the road, so he may not be available. It's go time, writes Tom. We seriously need a bunch of bodies at the legislature Tuesday morning, meaning today. House committee hearings start at 8:30. An automatic weapons ban, a 10-day waiting period, universal background checks, and several other Second Amendment right infringements. The moms will be there. I'm leaving Covington at 6:30 to drive to Baton Rouge. I'll also be, he's going to be on a Baton Rouge radio station a little bit later this morning. If you can be there for just 1 hour, meaning the state legislature, it makes a difference. I'll be the guy wearing a Guns Save Lives pin. I'll give you one. Each of us needs to fill out a card in opposition to each bad bill. Then you can leave if you must.
Ooh. So which committee is it? Does it say?
Let me
8:30.
A&W automatic weapons ban. A&W like root. What? They're going to ban root beer?
Don't ban root beer.
Who are these clowns?
Oh, people be lining up for that.
An automatic weapons ban. A 10-day waiting period. Dude, you okay over there? Oh, was it you?
That was me.
Oh, my gosh.
Who? What committee, though? Does it say?
It does not say. We seriously need a bunch of...
Because I want to post the members of the committee, and you need to call them right away.
We seriously need a bunch of bodies at the legislature Tuesday morning. House committee, I don't know which one, starts at 8:30. An AW ban, automatic weapons ban, 10-day waiting period, universal background checks, and others. Man, did I get a little blowback yesterday on my statement, gun control people are racists.
Yeah, I bet you did.
I can make the case. I can do it again.
Oh, you're going to get in trouble.
What was the C.S. Lewis line? Damn, I meant to look it up again. But it was the C.S. Lewis. It was a C.S. Lewis quote about question the assumptions within a question. And that was basically what he said. And I hearkened back to March for Our Lives. That if you don't march for our lives, i.e., if you're not for gun control, if you're not for gun confiscation, if you are pro-Second Amendment, if you're an NRA member, like that little kid David Hogg, you've got blood on your hands. What did he say to Marco Rubio on stage on that CNN town hall? I feel as though I am looking the killer in the eye. And just to accept the template of most questions. And I just, as I've said 100 times, I don't accept that. I'm an NRA member. I don't feel I have blood on my hands to stand there and for this little Nazi youth kid to say, if you're not for total gun ban,
Right.
if you are pro Second Amendment, if you think the Constitution means what it actually says, then you are the equivalent of a kid killer.
Whew,
And I started with that. Well, you remember it. It's not like they run from that. They embrace that. And I said, hold on a second. Here was the point I made. I said, hang on just a second. I said, look, with all the sympathy and attempted understanding in the world to those people who suffered such a horrible loss at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Florida. Isn't it interesting to you that the left, the Democrats, the socialists in this country, that they march out all these Second Amendment people when a bunch of white kids in high school get killed?
Yeah, that's the truth.
When every weekend in New Orleans or Baltimore, Chicago or
Detroit,
fill in the blank, that black kids are dying.
Where are the protests?
And I don't see those same left-wing gun control advocates calling for Second Amendment repeal or the confiscation of guns every Monday morning when the numbers come in from the Baltimore police or the Chicago police or the fill-in-the-blank police about the number of black teenagers who died that weekend. So suddenly, they are selective in their protests.
Right.
They are incredibly selective. Does that mean? It certainly does to me. A bunch of white kids die. Man, we got to do something. Bunch of black kids die. Who gives a damn?
I think they care. When you say
they don't care. They don't care enough to. They don't care enough to organize. They don't.
They're
care.
so used to it that they just it's another thing.
It's just
that just keeps happening.
So
they become immune to it.
If they cared about it, they'd do something. If they cared about those black kids, they would call for gun control in the inner cities. Go get the guns. Go get the guns away from those. Just like you're saying, look, they want to take away my gun. They want to take away Matt's guns. They want to take away all of America's guns. I haven't broken any law. I haven't hurt anybody. I'm not a criminal, but they want to take away my guns.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, because of a tragic mass shooting in Florida, I understand that. But where are they the rest of the time? White kids die. The entire left is up in arms. We have to repeal the Second Amendment. But I don't hear that same cry. When literally the family members of a core Democrat constituent group, African Americans, are dying every weekend. I don't care. White kids die. Oh, got to do something.
Yeah, we better protest.
The kid who needs hair product died. I was talking about that David Hogg kid. He just the kid's got good hair. You can't deny that. 649, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. More on the budget coming up just after 7 o'clock. And is Erin running for mayor?
No.
Will the Vox Populi, will the voice of the people demand your candidacy? We will discuss.
No.
649, 1017 FM, 710 Keel traffic update. Ruben's ready.
Everything's looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Kings Highway near Gilbert Drive due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline at 687-ROAD.
Here's your KeelAccuWeather.com forecast. Mostly sunny and warm today, near 80. Right now it is 50. Good morning, 652, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Time for sports. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. The LHSAA softball playoffs began yesterday. Three-time defending Class 4A state champ North DeSoto started the drive for title number 4 with a 16-1 thumping of Breaux Bridge. The Lady Griffins await the winner of today's Leesville Lakeshore game. A win on Friday would send North DeSoto back to Sulphur for the state tournament. The Times reports that Bailey McMillan scorched a homer and picked up the win in the circle. Brittlin Garrett homered twice in the win. Other scores, Northwood beat Riverdale 3-0. North Caddo was bounced by Rapides 6-0. Lakeside over Vidalia 2-1. Huntington was bounced by Franklin Parish 16-0. Mansfield also suffered a 15-0 loss At Avoyelles Charter, Manny beat Red River 16-1. One night after 44-year-old Bartolo Colon handcuffed the World Series champs, Houston was baffled by Seattle's 29-year-old James Paxton. The Astros managed only 3 hits all night in a 2-1 loss, one of those a leadoff homer from George Springer. After the debut tater, Paxton struck out 7 and surrendered just 2 more hits in 6 innings. Houston, who wasted a superb Justin Verlander effort 2 nights ago, got a great start from Dallas Keuchel, who threw 8 innings of 6-hit ball, yet still fell to 0-3. And Tampa Bay snapped a 4-game losing streak with an 8-4 win in St. Petersburg over Texas. Tonight, the Pelicans try to take a 2-0 lead in the playoffs with a win in Portland. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.101.7 FM, 710 Keel, Robert and Erin, 655. Matt's dying from allergies over there.
Yeah, he is.
Is it allergies? What you got, kid? Oh, my God.
It's like a sinus infection type deal.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Well, see, it's not as though you're holistic. It's just that you don't take anything. You're not you're not a big medicine man.
No, I haven't been to a doctor in probably 10, 15 years.
Well, God knows what he'd find.
Yeah, no kidding.
But, for the most part, I get like some sinus flare-ups 2-3 times a year. And other than that, I'm pretty healthy.
Despite the lifestyle.
6:55.
Okay, from the Shreveport Security Systems text line, 318-392-1884. Hey, do you think it's a coincidence that we pay federal income tax on the day that's the furthest possible day away from the day we elect our representatives, senators, even president? Perhaps if we moved elections to the first Tuesday after tax day, things might change. That would be kind of interesting.
Yeah, it would be.
6:56. Here's Rush on Keel.
Are you a retired government employee with a pension? Well, the New York Times is reporting on a big problem in places like Oregon, New Jersey, Connecticut, and Kentucky because government employee pension costs are out of control, and you know what that means. Now, these states and a lot of cities are having a hard time paying for day-to-day operations and basic services because they're paying retirees so much. State-run pension plans are far outpacing economic growth, which is really good. It's not uncommon for plans to pay retirees $100,000 a year and up for not working for the rest of their lives. And take the case of the University of Oregon football coach who was hired in 1995, stayed with the team 13 years. Today he draws $46,000 a month in taxpayer-funded pension benefits. It's a good deal for him, no doubt. Now, the upshot, says one government official, is that state governments are no longer trying to do more with less. They're trying to do less with less. What a concept. Truth is, if they had decided back then to do with less liberalism, they wouldn't be forced to do with less money now, and pensioners wouldn't be quaking in their boots over ending up with nothing somewhere down the road. Today's technology makes things easier because everything's connected. Your cell phone, your tablet, even your smart TV, all connected to one account, and they're all connected to your Wi-Fi. It only takes just one weak link for a cyber thug criminal to break in and obtain your data. And that's why the new LifeLock identity theft protection now adds the power of Norton security to your devices. Now, while LifeLock uses proprietary technology to detect threats to your identity, the addition of Norton security helps protect up to 5 of your devices from online threats. And if there's a problem, LifeLock's agents will work to fix it. Now, of course, no one can prevent all identity theft or cybercrime or monitor all transactions at all businesses. But new LifeLock with Norton gives you more protection for today's connected world. Join now, get 10% off your first year. Go online to lifelock.com and enter the promo code RUSH. That's lifelock.com. Remember, promo code RUSH.
KEEL Cash. Get all the details about how you could win $5,000. $5,000. Online at KEELnews.com.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on Kings Highway near Linwood Avenue, and we have some traffic delays on Swan Lake Spur near Shed Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, turning breezy and warmer with sunshine and a high of 83 today, remaining breezy and milder tonight, turning partly cloudy with a low of 61. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport.
It is 7:03. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Erin's got local news getting ready right now.
Talking about the cleanup and the power outages all across our region. We'll have that. And Jay Darden talking about the safety net hospitals and the budget struggle they're facing.
Speaking of budget, does anybody think that it's a good one? We will discuss that in just a couple of seconds, plus the funding for Tops Uber Alice. And, let me see, Fletcher in sports and traffic and weather, and it's all coming up this hour, and it's right here on Keel.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
It could take weeks or months for the Queensboro neighborhood to recover from storms that rock the area. City and parish leaders are requesting a disaster declaration to help fund the repairs. According to reports, hundreds of homes are still without power. Meantime, SWEPCO's working feverishly to get the juice back on. Matt Parker with that.
After weekend storms knocked out power to over 30,000 customers in the area, SWEPCO says they expect to have the power restored to everyone by 10 p.m. this evening. Officials say they have been working nonstop to fix down power lines and restore service to those without. Roughly 500 customers are still without power in Shreveport-Bossier. From 101.7 FM and 710 Keel, I'm Matt Parker.
The budget battle could have a major impact on teaching hospitals across the state. That's the message from Administration Commissioner Jay Darden.
Absent funding, we probably are not going to have meaningful graduate medical education in the state, and certainly based upon the letters that I received and promptly forwarded to this committee as soon as I received it, by the way, from New Orleans, from Baton Rouge, from Lady of Angels, from Lafayette, clearly indicated that absent funding, they were not going to be able to maintain their partnership relations with the state, and consequently, there would not be medical education provided at those institutions either.
The first draft of the budget funds Tops, but at what cost? State Representative Franklin Foyle won support for his amendment.
I want to send a message to our students who are making decisions now for college that it's a priority for us to fully fund Tops and Go grants.
Now, lawmakers are trying to close a $600 million shortfall, but to balance the budget and fund Tops, several sacrifices had to be made. The new budget cuts $22 million from higher ed and leaves safety net hospitals severely underfunded and, according to some, on the brink of closing. Jonathan Richardson, the man accused of killing Renita Williams live on Facebook and shooting a Shreveport police officer, is being held on a $2.5 million bond. He's charged with second-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, and several other charges. Chief Alan Crump says Officer Robert Intrican, the officer who was wounded, is resting and is expected to make a full recovery. The full House takes up a bill today that would prohibit you from holding a cell phone while you're driving. Jennifer Smith with StopDistractions.org is pushing for the legislation.
No one is saying you can't use your phone while you're driving. This law would just simply say you need to use it in a hands-free mode. All phones have apps available now that you can use hands-free for virtually no cost.
Officials in Bossier have lowered the speed limit on Benton Road from 65 to 55 on the 6-mile stretch that runs from Wemple Road to Burt Boulevard. A report from the Riley Center at the Manship School says Louisianians have a pretty favorable view of their local media. 78% of those polled said they trust their local media's information a lot or some. Public Policy Research Lab Director Mike Henderson says local media also got high marks in getting the facts right.
And they generally do think accuracy. Like, they're pretty high numbers in saying that local media is accurate in their reporting.
Local media scored much higher than the national media, where only 32% of those polled say they trust what they see. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 Keel.
Eight past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel traffic time.
The intersection at West 70th Street and Mansfield Road's dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now, and we have some traffic delays on Barksdale Boulevard near McDade Street in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, turning breezy and warmer with sunshine and a high of 83 today, remaining breezy and milder tonight, turning partly cloudy with a low of 61. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Ten past 7 o'clock, Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM at 710 Keel. So as far as the state budget goes, does everybody seem to agree? What was the quote, Matt? It's not worth, this was the governor's quote.
The governor said that the new budget, quote, isn't worth the paper it's printed on.
But does he say that because it doesn't have the new revenue that he wants, because it doesn't have a tax increase, because it doesn't charge you more or take money from the pockets of Louisiana?
Well, he and the Democrats, from what I gather, make a very good point. They say that this new bill gives false hopes to everyone in the state because everybody's like, yay, my kid gets free college tuition. They say there's no way that money stays on the books as it goes through the legislative process. So this was just...
Wait. That's interesting because that sort of harkens back to what we said last hour.
It's window dressing?
It's just a bunch of people showboating, hey, look, I care about you. That way they can, put that little sticker on their chest, that gold star. Well, I did what I could for you, kid. Vote for me next time around.
But how much do John Bell and the Democrats care for me if at the top of their agenda is taking more money from me? So, I mean, who's looking out for who? John Bell, is he portraying himself as the white knight? I'm here to save Louisiana, when in fact, if you look back at all the special sessions, if he had his way, there would be a state income tax increase.
There'd be no LSU football.
Gas would be 24 cents a gallon more.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who's on whose side really? And now we get back to the smartest. Don't be fooled by little snot boy over there. You are feeling bad on the 1 to 10 scale. You're about a 4 today.
Probably about a 5.
Yeah, but 3 points of that is just bravery and backbone.
Yeah, whatever.
In the 6 o'clock hour, here is Matt's quote, and this is abs.
That's pretty good.
It's brilliant. It is. Let's talk about him. Look, if I read this somewhere, I'd go, man. If I saw this on somebody's blog,
who's that genius?
Yeah,
can't believe it came out.
Who's this incredibly wise analytical pundit? What Matt said was, we're near the bottom in education, talking about Louisiana. We're near the bottom in education, but we're cutting funding to the state's elementary, middle, and high schools to pay for those students' college tuitions. In other words, we are going to lessen the quality. Let me know if I got this right. We are going to lessen the quality of your children's schools that they're now attending so they can go to college for free.
Yeah.
Or at least have it partially paid for.
Pretty much, yeah.
How much sense does that make?
None. It makes none.
And, you know, everybody was talking about, well, we're going to get all this money thanks to the new federal tax law, right? And we got $346 million. Guess where the bulk of that money went? 2 TOPS and 2 GO grants. We're trying to kill our safety net hospitals and, you know, LSU Health and, you know, the Med Center and all that. We're trying to we're cutting $22 million from higher ed. We're cutting everywhere we can except the one place where maybe, you know, we should back off a little.
So we're cutting money from state colleges also. So literally, the state has decided to pay for Louisiana kids to go to colleges that they have necessarily decided to underfund. Is that fair?
Well, that's the lip service they're paying you today. Let's see if it really gets out of the full house.
There's no way.
I think they're saying, we're just like Matt said, we're doing all the best for you, kid. We're doing our best. But then when it gets to the house, they're just not going to be able to fully fund it.
Which is why the governor is pissed that they wasted all this time to come up with this crap. I mean, think what you will of the governor. I mean, he's got a small pot to play in, and there's only so many ways you can go.
You don't play in pots, by the way.
Wait a second.
Well, I mix metaphors like you. Learn from the best.
If
I loved it.
If your analysis is correct, if John Bell is frustrated because the state legislature, specifically the budget committee, is wasting people's time. This is the guy that is called special session after special session after special session, trying to wear down legislators to give him the increased taxes and revenue enhancements that he wants, which led to my ill-worded phrase is what is if the governor were getting what he wanted from those special sessions, he wouldn't have to keep calling them. I don't think that's an outlandish statement by any means.
No.
If John Bell was getting from his repeated special sessions the results he wanted, he wouldn't have to have another one. And yet, the body, the makeup, the party makeup, the political makeup, the ideological makeup of the state legislature has not changed. Then why on earth would you call another special session? So don't preach to me about wasting time. When calling another special session will do nothing more than waste time.
Well, at the end of the day, though, like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of the governor, but at the end of the day, he makes suggestions and says, hey, it's your guys' job, fix it, because that's what we got to do. And guess what? These guys have been grandstanding and coming up with crap like this the entire time, instead of actually sitting down and putting together a logical budget that people on both sides might actually go for. They're just as bad, if not worse, than the governor.
So here's my question to you.
Yes.
Are the people who put this budget together, is that revenue committee, are they so bound, and I'm looking at Erin now, because you know more about, you're a little more wonkish than Matt and myself. Are the people who put this budget together, are they so restricted by the things that they can and or cannot cut? Is the budget that is coming out of committee, is it a result of the limitations of the law?
Yes, absolutely. But I still think the governor and the administrative commissioner can tell every state agency, cut 10%. There is 10% in every budget that they could go cut. Maybe it's people. I get that. Maybe it's some people. Maybe it's, 2 of your 5 communications directors. I don't know. Maybe it's your paperclip budget. I don't know. But every agency cut 10%. Let's do it. And I think it is doable. I mean, the governor will laugh at me when I say that, but I think he's wrong.
But did this House committee, within the limitations, within the rules, within the realms of what they're allowed to do, did they choose to fund TOPS at the expense of the very schools that they want to send the kids to?
TOPS is the hot button issue right now, Robert. TOPS is the one everybody screams about. All the middle income people say, that's the only money we get from government. We want to keep that protected.
Let me rephrase my question. No, let me restate my question. Did the legislators in that committee decide to fund TOPS.
That's not going to be the final decision. That is window dressing. That is just, like Matt said, that is grandstanding. That is not going to be the final budget.
Matthew?
And this is my major problem. We all know that no matter what side of the aisle you're on, something's got to happen, whether it's taxes, cuts, whatever, right? Well, you get $346 million of new money that you can allocate however you please to this, to that, make cuts here. You know, you could shift some funds around to make sure things are balanced across the board. Yet you give $247 million of that dollars to TOPS and this other Go Grant scholarship. How does that make sense?
Well, that's not really new money. It's just keeping the budget down from $1 billion to $645 million.
Newly recognized revenue,
Right,
however you want to call it. But you
Does-
have this new stuff on the books that you didn't know was there, and all of a sudden you're going to kick 85% of it towards something that you know is not plausible to fund long term.
Does the budget that came out of that committee, does it cut funding to higher education?
You bet.
Does it cut funding to Louisiana's other schools?
Safety net hospitals. You bet.
So, in fact, I answer my own question, or you just answered it for me. The legislators on that budget committee have decided to fund TOPS at the expense of the very schools that they want to pay the tuition for Louisiana's kids to go to.
That's their first salvo.
19
Let's see what their next one is.
19 past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Tuesday morning traffic. Rubens here.
The intersection at West 70th Street and Mansfield Road's dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Barksdale Boulevard near McDade Street in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, sunny today, turning breezy and warmer with a high of 83. Becoming partly cloudy tonight, it'll stay breezy and milder with a low of 61. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Twenty-one past 7 o'clock, time for KEEL Sports. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. The LHSAA softball playoffs began yesterday. Three-time defending Class 4A state champ North DeSoto started the drive for title number 4 with a 16-1 thumping of Breaux Bridge. The Lady Griffins await the winner of today's Leesville Lakeshore game. A win on Friday would send North DeSoto back to Sulphur for the state tournament. The Times reports that Bailey McMillan scorched a homer and picked up the win in the circle. Brittlin Garrett homered twice in the win. Other scores, Northwood beat Riverdale 3-0. North Caddo was bounced by Rapides 6-0. Lakeside over Vidalia 2-1. Huntington was bounced by Franklin Parish 16-0. Mansfield also suffered a 15-0 loss at Avoyles Charter. Manny beat Red River 16-1. One night after 44-year-old Bartolo Colon handcuffed the World Series champs, Houston was baffled by Seattle's 29-year-old James Paxton. The Astros managed only 3 hits all night in a 2-1 loss. One of those, a leadoff homer from George Springer. After the debut tater, Paxton struck out 7 and surrendered just 2 more hits in 6 innings. Houston, who wasted a superb Justin Verlander effort 2 nights ago, got a great start from Dallas Keuchel, who threw 8 innings of 6-hit ball, yet still fell to 0-3. And Tampa Bay snapped a 4-game losing streak with an 8-4 win in St. Petersburg over Texas. Tonight, the Pelicans try to take a 2-0 lead in the playoffs with a win in Portland. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
pretty impressive. Wow. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel, Robert and Erin, 24 past 7 o'clock.
Worst you can do is try, and they can cuss you
So
out.
Commissioner of Administration Jay Darden will join us at about 7:40, 41, 42, somewhere in there.
The future of University Health in Shreveport, they're saying these cuts could hit hard.
Is that more grandstanding? We can ask him that. I mean,
bet.
is that... Look,
He's open. He's an open book, no doubt. But I'm worried about the future of the hospitals. I really am.
But he's an open book on the governor's side who will tell you that we need more money, that you're keeping too much of yours.
Well,
I mean,
we're going to talk about this budget that the appropriations has passed, which fully funds TOPS and, whacks our hospitals. Yeah.
I mean, he goes back to Robert Shadowin. Well, Louisiana's aren't overtaxed. Well, maybe. Look, there is... And we talked about this a little bit last hour, and there was a post I saw on Facebook last night urging everybody in Shreveport to vote no on all the millage proposals. I'm not going to say renewals because let's split hairs. Urging Shreveport voters to vote no on all the millage proposals.
To send a message?
Yes.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Shreveport, we need to show that. And you know what the message was? That, well, you let these expire. So we're just going to we're going to teach you a lesson, City Hall. We're going to teach you a lesson, Ollie Tyler. That's just not based in fact. That's how it's done over and over.
That's how they've done it over and over again. So you want to read some other stuff about that's how the city of Shreveport has done it.
So somebody thinks it's a good idea to cut services that they use to send a message? Like, oh, my God. So when they break into your house and you can't get a cop on the phone,
welcome to Flint.
What the hell is wrong with these people?
If you think Shreveport City Hall wastes money, if you think your tax dollars are not spent wisely, if you think we are overpaying, that even the Shreveport city bureaucracy is too large, and as a result, you decide to vote no on April 28th, I get that.
Right.
But to say, I'm going to vote no for no other reason than we need to teach somebody a lesson about something that you don't know anything about.
You're being silly.
That's
you need to study and see where the money goes, etc. I have a little issue today regarding that very subject, and I know this is being real petty, but the city council members all signed a letter urging you to vote yes. And it's on city letterhead.
Now, we've had a situation.
Which is not legal.
What?
They can't use, unless they paid for it out of their own pocket and bought the paper.
Yeah.
They can't do that.
Oh, my God, the architectural.
But it's a silly little petty thing, I understand.
But is it really? I mean, look.
You cannot use any government-funded items to tell me how to vote or urge me how to vote in one direction. And this letter says we urge you to vote yes.
But this is the same thing that happened with the other stuff that the mayor's office printed.
You bet. And this is a letter that is signed by all of the council members.
City Attorney William Bradford went, oops.
We'll take the vote yes out of it.
Is that basically the...
Now, city letterhead, you could have... I don't know. You could have made it up your own. I don't know. Did we steal the letterhead from the city hall? I don't. It's a 1 nickel piece of paper, but whatever.
But the principle is the principle.
That's why I'm bringing it up, because the principle is the principle. You cannot use city resources to tell me how to vote or encourage me how to vote. You can send me a letter all you want, city council members, on your own dime, your own paper, and all that, and urge me how to vote. You can't use government property to do it.
And the last time it happened, though,
even if it's a nickel.
But there's no blowback at all. There's no.
It's just me spouting. That's all it is.
Yeah, but nothing happens when that happens. I mean, literally.
Well, they changed the other document.
Yeah. Okay.
They did change it.
Oh, we got caught. We'll change it now. Mm-hmm. If you hadn't brought it up, if you hadn't made a stink about it, and I don't mean stink in a bad way, if you hadn't brought that up, would it have ever been changed?
Probably not. But the thing is, it's so deep-rooted. It happens all the time. Shreveport's not the only offender. This happens everywhere. And they just got to stop doing that. You got to stop using government resources to promote your causes because that breeds distrust in government.
29 past 7 o'clock, 1017 FM, 710 Keel, Commissioner of Administration Jay Darden on the just released House House Committee budget. Which one is it?
It's the House Appropriations budget.
I knew it was
headed to the House.
I knew it was an A word, but I was thinking about that Matt, and we know what A word applies
Whoa.
there. 29 past 7 o'clock, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Wipe that smile off your face, kid. Here's Ruben.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on Line Avenue near Kings Highway, and we have some traffic delays on Old Minden Road near Airline Drive in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, sunny today, turning breezy and warmer with a high of 83. Becoming partly cloudy tonight, it'll stay breezy and milder with a low of 61. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
The first draft of the budget funds TOPS. That was one of the big amendments lawmakers approved.
This amendment restores the cuts made by the executive budget to the TOPS program and the GO grants and brings them up to the current funding levels. I think it's important now, since students are making decisions, to send a message to our students that it's our priority to fully fund TOPS and GO grants moving forward.
State Representative Franklin Foyle, however, to balance the budget and fund those programs, several sacrifices had to be made. The new budget cuts $22 million from higher ed and leaves safety net hospitals severely underfunded. Shreveport neighborhood still recovering from the weekend storms. Matt Parker with that.
It could take months for Shreveport's Queensboro neighborhood to recover from strong storms that rocked the Arklatex over the weekend. City and parish leaders are requesting a disaster declaration to help fund repairs. According to reports, hundreds of homes are still without power. It's estimated that at least 100 homes in the neighborhood sustained storm damage over the weekend. From 1017 FM and 710 Keel, I'm Matt Parker.
Meantime, SWEPCO crews are working feverishly to get the juice back on. They expect to have the power restored to everyone by about 10 p.m. this evening. Over 30,000 customers were left in the dark during the storms. Bond has now been set for Jonathan Richardson. The man accused of killing Renita Williams is live on Facebook and shooting a Shreveport police officer. His bond is set at $2.5 million. Richardson is charged with second-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, and several other charges. Chief Alan Crump says Officer Robert Intrican, the officer who was wounded, is resting and expected to make a full recovery. The full House taking up a bill today that would prohibit you from holding your cell phone while driving. Opponents to the bill claim they need access to their phones at all times while driving. Many note the map feature is something they use on a regular basis while behind the wheel. But Jennifer Smith, the CEO of StopDistractions.org, says that's dangerous.
No one should be entering in an address when they're driving. Keeping focused, you are driving a 4,000-pound deadly weapon.
Officials in Bossier have lowered the speed limit on Benton Road in an attempt to reduce accidents. Officials dropped the limit from 65 to 55 on the 6-mile stretch that runs from Wemple Road to Burt Boulevard. A study from the DOTD recommended lowering the speed limit to reduce fatal crashes and increase driver safety. The U.S. Supreme Court hearing arguments in a case that has to do with a business's collection of sales taxes on online purchases. Right now, under a decades-old Supreme Court rule, if a business is shipping a product to a state where it does not have an office, a warehouse, or other physical presence, it doesn't have to collect the state's sales tax. More than 40 states say that rule is causing them to lose out on billions in tax revenues. Just how big a deal is it that Kendrick Lamar has won the Pulitzer Prize for music? The rapper has won 12 Grammys during his career, but not one of his 3 major releases has won Album of the Year. But he becomes the first non-classical or jazz artist to win the Pulitzer Prize. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
.101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Yeah, Jay Darden will be here in a second.
Jay Darden, the administration commissioner, is going to join us here in just a couple of minutes.
A couple of notes from the Shreveport Security Systems text line, 318-392-1884. In the 6 o'clock hour, and I mentioned this yesterday, I talked about how gun control advocates, all those, the big marchers, I said, are those marches racist, that they get all freaked out? Look, I know it's a horrible tragedy when there's a school shooting. But on the other hand, people are shot in America every weekend. And what I said was, are they to some degree racist? Because when white kids get shot, there's 800,000 people on the Washington Mall, and black kids die every weekend and nobody gives a damn. And the response was, Robert is right, those spoiled white kids should be marching every Monday morning. Now, at KEELnews.com, the headline is from a segment from yesterday morning. And the headline is, Erin McCarty's not running for mayor.
No, she's not.
But she sure sounds like it.
Oh, boy.
You went on a riff yesterday about if you were mayor, and Lord knows,
this city's not big enough for me to be mayor.
Campaigns have the campaigns have started on much less.
Yes.
And you just did about 4 minutes on what you would do if you were mayor. And once again, from the Shreveport Security Systems text line, there may be a wrench in the gears here.
Oh, there might be? Okay, good.
I would not vote for
Please don't vote for me.
I would not vote for a mayoral candidate who does not know you should not let your car idle inside a closed garage. Or that did come up one day.
Yeah, it did.
Let me read the entire thing.
Oh, I can't wait.
And then you can all comment.
Yeah.
I would not vote for I'm fine. I would not vote for a mayoral candidate who does not know you should not let your car idle inside a closed garage. Or or who does not know if you'll be late for church after the clocks change.
I should run a campaign. Don't vote for me. I'm an idiot.
Or
I might win.
Or or
I might win.
You should move to change election day to the same day the clocks change.
Lots of gun bills in committee this morning. If you want to know which gun bills and how to get in touch with your lawmakers, it's all up right now. KEELnews.com. I got you the numbers and the emails to call. You need to work these people over or these bills might pass.
I'm sure that's not the phrase I would have used, but what the hell. Yeah, Jay Darden is next.
Jay Darden next.
Who?
Jay Darden.
739, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Here's traffic. Here's Ruben on KEEL.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on Line Avenue near Kings Highway. And we have some traffic delays on Old Minden Road near Airline Drive in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, sunny today, turning breezy and warmer with a high of 83. Becoming partly cloudy tonight, it'll stay breezy and milder with a low of 61. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Good morning at 741. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, 1017 FM and 710 Keel. Joining us for a little bit this morning is the State Commissioner of Administration, Mr. Jay Darden. Hey, Mr. Jay, how are you doing this morning? Thanks for taking time.
Good morning, Robert. Doing fine, thank you. How are y'all?
Good. Jay, the Appropriations Committee meeting, I was watching some of that testimony yesterday. The governor says this budget is not worth the paper it's printed on. You agree?
I do. It's very difficult to try and balance this budget with the shortfall that we have, but the bill that came out of the Appropriations Committee yesterday basically turns its back on our public hospitals and on health care, and it's just something we can't tolerate in this state. We'd be closing every public-private partnership hospital, including the one in Shreveport.
That's what I wanted to ask you about. The funding for University Health Hospital here, serious cuts, and it could be in jeopardy. Is it true?
Yes, it's true right now. In the bill that came out of the Appropriations Committee, there's not any money at all provided for the Shreveport Hospital. No general fund dollars whatsoever.
Wait a minute. How do they think that's even viable?
Well, it's not. I don't know. You'll have to ask them. You'll have to ask the people who voted for it in the Appropriations Committee, and I would hope that members of the House will not be voting for this budget the way it is. And let me just add, there's no real good way to fix this right now. The Appropriations Committee fully funded TOPS and did not fund the partner hospitals or really most of the Medicaid budget at all. But there's simply not enough money to go around to do everything that most people in the state would say we'd like to have done in Louisiana. That means funding higher ed at the level we funded it last year, funding TOPS, funding our sheriffs who keep state inmates in their local jails, and funding our hospitals and the rest of the Medicaid budget, which is greatly in jeopardy. We're talking about nursing homes having to send letters to patients telling them they're not going to have a place to stay in the nursing home anymore. And that sounds over dramatic, but it's not. It's the reality that we're facing given the budget crisis.
And yet the committee, the House committee, seems to have thrown a whole bunch of money to fund TOPS. What do you think the thinking behind that was?
Well, this is not something new. This happened a couple of years ago where there was an attempt to fully fund TOPS in the House, and the Senate changed that. I mean, we all want to fund TOPS. We want to fund TOPS fully as well, but to do that, we've got to raise some additional money. I mean, this should be no surprise to anybody. We've been talking about this for months, and the legislature has had multiple opportunities to raise the revenue to replace the temporary taxes that are going off the books on June 30th. And the legislature, the House, that is, has steadfastly refused to advance any bills to the Senate that would make up the difference. And that's the problem we're facing right now. We don't know what the revenue picture is going to look like. We know that the legislature has not raised any revenue in the past year and a half to try and deal with the cliff. The governor wants this session to end early so we can go into yet another special session, one that wouldn't cost taxpayers additional money because they would otherwise be here for the regular session, to try and fix this mess so that we're not continually going through this up and down and this incredible uncertainty that's being visited upon students who need TOPS, on residents of nursing homes, of people who are depending upon substance abuse treatment, for our partner hospitals. Every single hospital in the state that has a relationship with the state is not funded in this proposed budget.
So it's a question that I've asked before. If the governor, if Mr. John Bell were getting from the special sessions what he wanted from the special sessions, he wouldn't have to keep calling special sessions. Given the fact that the makeup, the political makeup, the party makeup of the state legislature hasn't changed, what could possibly be different about another special session?
Reality. The reality now setting in that this budget is got to be enacted by June 30th to begin the fiscal year that starts on July 1. And instead of pushing things down the road continuously, now is going to be the time to act, to say what it is you would cut in this budget. You know, the people who've been saying, let's cut the budget, let's cut the budget. Well, we saw what the Appropriations Committee did to cut the budget. They did not fund health care.
Jay, let me ask you this. I'm a little bit confused because they're working on a budget right now, but they can't raise taxes during the regular session. So
right.
We're working on a budget that won't have any new taxes in it, but it's got to be balanced. And then you're going to come back later and raise taxes, and then how's that going to work out?
And then will you put stuff back?
Yeah, fund stuff.
Well, frankly, yeah. The most sensible thing to do, and this is my view, is to adjourn this session as quickly as possible without a budget and go into the special session so that the budget and the revenue picture can be considered at the exact same time. We tried to consider the revenue picture first in the earlier special session, and that failed. And so now we've either got to enact a budget that does not fund an awful lot of things and then come back in a special session and raise the money to fund it, but the budget's got to be balanced, so that makes it very difficult to do, or we adjourn early and go into a special session where the governor can call the budget into that session and consider the budget and the revenue at the same time. That seems to me to make the most sense, and it's just going to be very difficult, I think, for both the House and the Senate to enact a budget that makes the kind of cuts that are going to be necessary no matter what, because we cannot fully fund health care and fund TOPS and fund higher education with the dollars that the Revenue Estimating Conference tells us are available right now. We've got to have some additional revenue to do that.
And so what different or the same priorities will the governor put into this special session as far as, in other words, is he still for an income tax? I know it's a dirty word, a Stelly type return, gas tax increase. What are the governor's priorities for raising the revenue?
Nothing's going to change from what was considered during that previous special session and what was considered last year. I think the general view is that any income tax change like Stelly is probably not going to happen, which means we've got to do things like change the sales tax exemptions and exclusions and credits so that they're all consistent on every penny that we have, make permanent some of the temporary taxes that expire on June 30th, and consider a portion of the 1 cent sales tax that expires on June 30th. Those are exactly the types of bills that were available during the special session that could not survive.
Jay, let me ask you.
They're going to come right back up again. We're not going to have a whole lot of new choices.
Let me ask you a moronic question. And there's people sitting listening that are probably thinking the same thing.
I'm already thinking that.
Why can't you and the governor look at every department head and say, cut your budget by 10%? We're in dire straits. Go back, cut your budget by 10%, bring it back to me. Why can't that be done?
Erin, if we raise the money that the governor wants to see raised to balance the budget, we'll still be cutting over $100 million out of the budget. I mean, we have cut the budget since this governor has been in office. The budget has been reduced over the course of the past decade, really, to a large extent, and the budget's been balanced with one-time money, as we've talked about repeatedly. It's just much easier said than done. And by the way, 75+% of the budget is incorporated in the health care budget and education. And those are the things that we don't want to see cut. And every time we cut the general fund for health care, for hospitals, for substance abuse, for any type of treatment, we're losing a significant amount of federal dollars that are matched by that state general fund dollar. Already this budget is the way it is right now, we're going to lose almost $2 billion in federal money.
Jay, I'm looking at your general fund budget, though. 7.7 in 13-14, 8.1, 8.2, 8.9 last year. Now it's down 8.7. But our general fund budget's been climbing every year until this current year. That's where I'm a little confused.
The general fund budget has been relatively consistent for the past 10 years. And that general fund budget is what you and I pay in income tax and sales tax, the revenue that's generated within the state of Louisiana. It's been relatively constant. The health care general fund budget has actually gone down this year.
But our general fund budget was $6.9 billion in fiscal year 10-11. $6.9 billion. And now it's up to $8.7 billion. That's where I get off track. I'm like, how can we keep expanding by $2 billion and we're losing residents? We're struggling. That's my issue.
Erin, they hadn't been raising taxes during that time period. I mean, that general fund budget has been very constant over those course of the last 10 years when you look at those numbers, and that's not because there's been a whole lot of taxes raised. The economy improved at some point. It went down with the national recession. We're struggling because of that, and we had this facade of a balanced budget for the past 8 years where we were simply raiding funds and using one-time money to balance our budget, and it was a fiction, and we're not doing that anymore. You don't have a nickel of one-time money to fund recurring expenses in this budget under this governor. You're not gonna. We're gonna tell the truth when it comes to budgeting and say we got to live with what we've got, but we've got to set our priorities, and we've got to replace revenue that was passed on a temporary basis.
If it's fair to assume,
we can't go backwards.
Sure.
If it's fair to assume that the Republicans in the legislature are representing the wishes of their constituents, which is we don't want new taxes. We think we are giving enough of our money to the state of Louisiana. What is it about their stance, their conservative stance, their I want to hang on to my money stance that they don't get?
Because we're not raising taxes. We're trying to keep the level of taxation that has been in place as a result of the temporary taxes that the legislature voted on 2 years ago. When they did this and knew it was going to expire in June of 30, we knew we'd have a $1 billion problem because they raised $1 billion in taxes. So what we're saying is replace not all the money that's rolling off. So replace enough to fund what we want, and that requires now it's going to require about another $600 million after the Revenue Estimate Conference recognized the 346 last week. But we're simply saying we've got to stay afloat with what we've got. We can't go backwards, or if we do, to those who don't want to vote to replace those taxes, you're going to have to tell the people what you want to cut. And the Appropriations Committee yesterday said we're comfortable cutting. I wouldn't say they're comfortable. I don't think that's fair, but they said they'd cut health care. And we can't see that happen in this state. That is just an incredibly irresponsible move to say that we're not going to have a hospital system in Louisiana.
So in your mind, in the governor's mind, that penny roll-off, when that tax ends the end of June, it is potentially that disastrous.
It is that disastrous. I'm not making this up. And by the way, the two of you and I have been talking about this for a year and a half, and we're having the same discussion, and this is now coming to the point that the unfortunate, inevitable flashpoint that we knew we were going to reach if we didn't fix something, and it's now happening.
Jay, a constitutional convention, is that needed to change our tax structure overall?
Well, it's not needed if the legislature and the people would decide to do it on their own. There is increased interest, it seems, in that constitutional convention, but obviously it doesn't solve our immediate problem. If there is to be a constitutional convention and it's limited to tax matters, it's going to be a year or two more that it's going to take to get the determination of how to select the delegates, to elect the delegates, to have the convention, and then to have the people vote on whatever comes out of the convention. So that's not an immediate solution. Long term, it may be what's necessary to make the kind of changes that are needed. But the legislature, by 2/3 vote, can change the Constitution, and the people can then vote on it.
Jay Darden, Administration Commissioner, I know you got to get to a meeting. Thanks for joining us on such short notice. Appreciate it.
Thank y'all.
You bet.
754, it's 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Here's traffic on Keel.
We have reports of a minor accident on Westport Coons Industrial Loop near Westport Avenue. And we're looking at some heavy backed up traffic on I-20 westbound. Starting at Spring and Market, it's backed up past Airline Drive right now. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, turning breezy and warmer with sunshine at a high of 83 today, remaining breezy and milder tonight, turning partly cloudy with a low of 61. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
One 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. That's making me ill. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel Sports.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. The LHSAA softball playoffs began yesterday. Three-time defending Class 4A state champ North DeSoto started the drive for title number 4 with a 16-1 thumping of Breaux Bridge. The Lady Griffins await the winner of today's Leesville Lakeshore game. A win on Friday would send North DeSoto back to Sulphur for the state tournament. The Times reports that Bailey McMillan scorched a homer and picked up the win in the circle. Brittlin Garrett homered twice in the win. Other scores, Northwood beat Riverdale 3-0. North Caddo was bounced by Rapides 6-0. Lakeside over Vidalia 2-1. Huntington was bounced by Franklin Parish 16-0. Mansfield also suffered a 15-0 loss at Avoyelles Charter. Manny beat Red River 16-1. One night after 44-year-old Bartolo Colon handcuffed the World Series champs, Houston was baffled by Seattle's 29-year-old James Paxton. The Astros managed only 3 hits all night in a 2-1 loss. One of those, a leadoff homer from George Springer. After the debut tater, Paxton struck out 7 and surrendered just 2 more hits in 6 innings. Houston, who wasted a superb Justin Verlander effort 2 nights ago, got a great start from Dallas Keuchel, who threw 8 innings of 6-hit ball, yet still fell to 0-3. And Tampa Bay snapped a 4-game losing streak with an 8-4 win in St. Petersburg over Texas. Tonight, the Pelicans try to take a 2-0 lead in the playoffs with a win in Portland. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
Is talking about it, so are we. 101.7 FM and 710 Keel.
Hey, this is State Fire Marshal Bush Browning. Shreveport and Bossier are lucky to have Robert and Erin each morning. In-depth coverage of big stories that matter to the community.
We are Keel. 101.7 FM and 710 Keel.
We have reports of a minor accident on Westport Coons Industrial Loop near Westport Avenue. And we're looking at some heavy backed up traffic on I-20 westbound. Starting at Spring and Market, it's backed up past Airline Drive right now. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, turning breezy and warmer with sunshine and a high of 83 today, remaining breezy and milder tonight, turning partly cloudy with a low of 61. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport.
Three past 8 o'clock, Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Miss Erin down yonder's local news, and it's getting ready right now.
The cleanup is continuing. One neighborhood hit hard. We'll talk more about that. Funding tops at the expense of what else? That's coming up this morning, too. And keeping your cell phone put away while driving.
See, Matt said something in the 6 o'clock hour that was incredibly wise beyond his years. We will let you know what it was. Jade Arden says we've got no money, run out of money, but we got the budget in front of us. We will compare what he said with what the numbers say. And we've said Louisiana's other side, that Shreveport Bossier marketing thing.
Yes.
How's about Louisiana's moral side?
I like that.
Maybe that's a direction we ought to go. Fletcher and sports, traffic and weather, all here this hour, and it's on KEEL.
information. KEEL News now.
The first draft of the budget funds TOPS, but at what cost? Matt Parker with that.
The House Appropriations Committee has drafted the first budget to submit to the full House for a vote. In the new budget that is attempting to close a $600 million shortfall, the committee made it clear they want and have every desire to fully fund TOPS and GO grants. However, to balance the budget and fund those two programs, several sacrifices had to be made. The new budget cuts $22 million from higher education and leaves safety net hospitals severely underfunded and, according to some, on the brink of closing. Governor John Bel Edwards says the budget isn't worth the paper it's printed on. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
The Shreveport neighborhood's still recovering from the weekend storms, and it could take months for the Queensboro area to recover. City and parish leaders are requesting a disaster declaration to help fund repairs. Meantime, SWEPCO crews working feverishly to return power after the storms knocked out power to more than 30,000 customers. SWEPCO says they expect to have the power restored to everyone by 10 p.m. this evening. Jonathan Richardson, the man accused of killing Renita Williams live on Facebook and shooting a Shreveport police officer, is now being held on a $2.5 million bond. Richardson is charged with second-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, and several other charges. Chief Alan Crump says Officer Robert Intrican, the officer who was wounded, is resting and expected to make a full recovery. The full House takes up a bill today that would prohibit you from holding your cell phone while you're driving. Jennifer Smith of StopDistractions.org says 15 other states currently have a similar law. She says a reduction in crashes and cell phone use while driving have been noted in Oregon.
Once the Oregon law was changed to the same basis of the phone cannot be in the driver's hand, they saw a 2% reduction in use behind the wheel.
Behind the wheel in Bossier, you'll have to slow down if you're traveling on Benton Road. Officials have lowered the speed limit on Benton Road in an attempt to reduce crashes. They dropped the speed limit from 65 to 55 on the 6-mile stretch that runs from Wimple Road to Burt Boulevard. A police officer in Baton Rouge is appealing his suspension over a deadly confrontation with a black man whose shooting death set off widespread protests 2 years ago. In a petition, an attorney for Officer Howie Lake II asked the Civil Service Board to rescind his 3-day suspension. Starbucks is trying to tamp down a racially charged uproar over the arrest of 2 black men at one of its stores in Philadelphia. Protests are expected again today. And a Florida man said the letter O from a Hooters sign blew off the wall and landed on his foot, leaving him hurt. But surveillance video said otherwise. The manager of the store says the video actually shows the sign falling onto the sidewalk and hitting no one. The man's now been arrested for insurance fraud. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Nine past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Time for Tuesday morning traffic. Ruben's here.
We have reports of a minor accident on Westport Coons Industrial Loop near Westport Avenue. And we're looking at some heavy backed up traffic on I-20 westbound. Starting at Spring and Market, it's backed up past Airline Drive right now. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, turning breezy and warmer with sunshine and a high of 83 today, remaining breezy and milder tonight, turning partly cloudy with a low of 61. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
1017 FM and 710 KEEL. Your KEEL cash code word is
lift. As Erin used it in a sentence but seconds ago, the girls need a lift. Your chance at $5,000. Find out how on the KEEL website, KEELnews.com. It's 11 past 8 o'clock, 1017 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, Shreveport Security Systems text line
you have created a monster.
Is 318-392-1884.
Sammy Schwarzenegger told me yesterday that I need to run for mayor because of what you did. He said, you really ought to think about it. No, I'm not thinking about it. I'm not happy. It's not happening.
The name, the headline, it was on the dynamic lead on the KEEL webpage, KEELnews.com. And basically it was that 2.5 or 3 minute, 4 minute, 5.5, that 9 minute riff you went on yesterday about basically you said, here's what I would do if I were mayor.
Mm-hmm.
And the headline on the KEEL webpage is Erin McCarty's not running for mayor, but it sure sounds like it.
Yeah.
And in that 3.5 or 4 minute monologue, diatribe, hysteria tinged spoutage, you basically, it really wasn't. Basically what you said is that Shreveport, Bossier, well, Shreveport specifically because you're running for mayor.
No, I'm not running for mayor.
Is we're kind of a poor town and we need to come up with a little cash.
We need jobs.
We need to come up with jobs.
We have to have jobs.
Got to have a place to go.
We have to have a plan. But whoever I vote for mayor will have to outline for me a plan to create jobs. I must hear that. If I don't hear that, I'm not voting for you.
Now, here was the question I asked in the 6 o'clock hour, and I think there's some legitimacy to this. Are we, as an area, hurt by the state as a whole? In other words, the fact that Louisiana as a state, as an entity, has trouble attracting industry, companies, especially white-collar companies, to Louisiana because of the way the state is operated.
Mm-hmm.
Is that going to hurt our possibility of getting people to come to Shreveport no matter what we do? If we say, listen, we've got low taxes.
Sure.
We've got a great infrastructure,
Mm-hmm.
and as much as it, to use 60s lexicon, as much as it blows our minds, when you talk to people in South Louisiana who come up here, the first thing they say is, you guys got awesome roads.
Oh, yeah.
Your roads up here are awesome.
You don't have the traffic headaches that we have.
Compared to South Louisiana.
Oh, you
so
bet.
When you look at the infrastructure of Northwest Louisiana, the intersection of interstate highways,
Mm-hmm.
et cetera, is the way that the state of Louisiana does business going to hurt the possibility of us increasing business?
Yes, and we're going to have to fix that. But that shouldn't keep Shreveport from going out on our own and going out and recruiting companies. And you know, I something happened to me yesterday. I drink a lot of water, and I refill my bottle of water right from my tap. I drink tap water in Shreveport. I have for a long time. And I told some city leaders this story one day. I tested city water between Shreveport, Jackson, Mississippi, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, all the way to Pensacola.
Like a taste test?
I did a taste test, the whole route.
Right.
I tasted every community's water. And this is just one silly example, if you're listening to me. Every city's water was like, ugh, dear God, that's dreadful. But when I got back here, and perhaps it's because I'm used to it, I don't know, that could be it, but we have good, clean, drinkable water. That is a huge thing for a community. I don't drink the water in Bossier. I love Bossier City, but your water sucks. That's just one thing. Shreveport has so much to offer. Why are we not rushing over to Dallas every week, getting appointments in those companies and saying, I know you love Dallas. I know your headquarters is Dallas, but let me show you the advantages of moving to Shreveport and having your headquarters in Shreveport. The traffic is easy. We've got great in and out with rail, with the river, with the interstates. Less cost of living for your employees. We've got great water. We've got infrastructure that we're improving. Go over there every week and wine and dine those people until you really get on their radar and go, our people wouldn't have to deal with this Dallas traffic every day. We wouldn't have to deal with all the mess we deal with. I just think it's a no-brainer.
So back to my original point. And I'm not trying to be, what was the Saturday Night Live? Debbie Downer was the bit.
That's okay.
But it goes back to how Louisiana does things. And it goes back to my age-old, to my bromide. What does Louisiana do that Texas doesn't? We should quit. What does Texas do that we don't? We ought to start. Well, the one thing we do in Louisiana is send all our money to that clearinghouse known as Baton Rouge, where it gets filtered and filtered and filtered.
Right.
Where you send $100 to Baton Rouge of your money, and instead of getting $100 back, you get back about 40 or 45 or 50. Where's the money go?
Sure.
There is this big power base.
It's a vacuum.
It is, as Stephen Wagasback has said 100 times, that the power structure, the way Louisiana government is structured, that the money in Louisiana goes there before it comes back to you. That the advantage Texas has is the way its property tax system and other taxes are set up is most of the money stays at home. That the power in Texas is located in the county seats. Whereas in Louisiana, the power is located in Baton Rouge. And you have to ask yourself, is the governor of Louisiana, no matter the party affiliation, is that governor willing to sit down and say, the way the money pipeline in Louisiana works is there's too much of it coming here. We need to keep more of it at home. And as I said, and bluntly put, we don't have, as a state government, the most stellar reputation.
Right.
So, and that was what I said in the top of the hour tease. We had, and I don't know if we're still doing it or I haven't seen it recently, Shreveport, Bossier, Louisiana's other side. Maybe what we could do is market ourselves as Shreveport, Bossier, Louisiana's moral side.
I like that.
We're not like those folks down there. We're not like fly paper for your cash.
Right.
The
thing that kills me, Robert, is I bet if we go look at the gas tax receipts, how much gas tax comes from our part of the state, and how much of it do we get back? The numbers are disproportionate, and that's what troubles me a lot about it, that a lot of the money is spent south of Alexandria. We get nibbles every now and then, but we do not get our share. We do not get the portion that we send down there.
Wise people have said previous, and they have referred to Baton Rouge as it's just a black hole for money. 18 past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Fletcher and sports just a couple of seconds away. In the meantime, well, let's see. Yeah, traffic and weather updates coming up next, also right here on Keel. Twenty past 8 o'clock. Keel Sports. Here's Tim. Oh, it's traffic? Here's traffic, but not Tim.
Still seeing some of that heavy backed up traffic on I-20 westbound starting at Spring and Market. It's backed up past Airline Drive right now. And we have some traffic delays on Benton Road just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Sunny today, turning breezy and warmer with a high of 83. Becoming partly cloudy tonight. It'll stay breezy and milder with a low of 61. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Gosh, all this work. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. The LHSAA softball playoffs began yesterday. Three-time defending Class 4A state champ North DeSoto started the drive for title number 4 with a 16-1 thumping of Breaux Bridge. The Lady Griffins await the winner of today's Leesville Lakeshore game. A win on Friday would send North DeSoto back to Sulphur for the state tournament. The Times reports that Bailey McMillan scorched a homer and picked up the win in the circle. Brittlin Garrett homered twice in the win. Other scores, Northwood beat Riverdale 3-0. North Caddo was bounced by Rapides 6-0. Lakeside over Vidalia 2-1. Huntington was bounced by Franklin Parish 16-0. Mansfield also suffered a 15-0 loss at Avoyelles Charter. Manny beat Red River 16-1. One night after 44-year-old Bartolo Colon handcuffed the World Series champs, Houston was baffled by Seattle's 29-year-old James Paxton. The Astros managed only 3 hits all night in a 2-1 loss. One of those, a leadoff homer from George Springer. After the debut tater, Paxton struck out 7 and surrendered just 2 more hits in 6 innings. Houston, who wasted a superb Justin Verlander effort 2 nights ago, got a great start from Dallas Keuchel, who threw 8 innings of 6-hit ball, yet still fell to 0-3. And Tampa Bay snapped a 4-game losing streak with an 8-4 win in St. Petersburg over Texas. Tonight, the Pelicans try to take a 2-0 lead in the playoffs with a win in Portland. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
Twenty-three past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Keel app's a free download from Office Furniture Source. Shreveport Security Systems text line is hopping today. 318-392-1884. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Ben Franklin told us, talking about Baton Rouge and what is referred to as state government as the black hole of cash. It just goes there and vanishes, never to be seen again, that bottomless well. Ben Franklin told us, in this world, nothing can be said to be certain except death and taxes. The problem is the income tax causes more agony and lasts longer as it follows us beyond our own death. There is currently no cure for death, but there is for the income tax. Help pass, you know who this is from, our boy Dougie. Help pass the fair tax. I'll keep working on that. And the dying thing also.
Yeah.
Now, he makes an interesting point, whether you believe in the flat tax, the fair tax. I'm not a big proponent of the current graduated tax system. But there are those that will argue, and I certainly agree, that the purpose of the incrementally increasing tax system is power over you. It's literally power over you and the citizenry.
Right.
We control the tax structure. We will tell you what you will pay. We will give breaks to our friends, and we will punish our enemies. And if you don't think that's the case, look back not that long ago with Obama and the IRS and conservative groups. Yeah, well, it was an enforcement error. Oh, wait, that was Facebook.
Right.
But it's basically the same thing.
God,
We will keep our thumb on you unless you're our friend, unless you do us favors, unless you vote for us, unless you help us maintain our hold on everybody else. And that's what it's all about.
Right.
Or what it has evolved into.
It's unbelievable that that's what it has evolved into. It really is.
I mean, look at the current situation in Louisiana. Look at the reason that people on both sides of the political aisle are screaming for some degree of reform, i.e., calling for that constitutional convention. Because there are things you can't touch, there are things you can touch, there are things that are set-asides, there are things that are How did all these things, all this funding, how did they all get to be untouchable?
Because we voted on a constitutional amendment saying leave this fund alone. Leave that fund alone.
Because at some point somebody was doing somebody a favor. Because if we are going to do the Erin McCarty monthly auto payment fund, if that's going to be untaxed, then Erin McCarty has to A, canvass her legislators, B, get it put on the ballot, C, campaign with all her friends, and or do favors for said legislators,
right,
and promise favors to move it along the process. And I got to tell you, whether you go with Doug's fair tax, which is really a value added, I mean, it's basically a federal sales tax.
Sure.
I know he's jumping up and down. There's more to it than that, and I understand, Dougie, there is. Or the flat tax where everybody pays the same. But that would lessen the hold. That would lessen the power of Baton Rouge and or Washington on you and your money and everything you do with that money.
That's for sure.
So when they talk about, will the current governor, will the current legislator, well, there's a lot of current legislators, at least on the Republican side of the aisle, who think a constitutional convention would do us, we would be well served by that convention. At the same time, how many in state government, when it really comes to cutting time,
yes,
are really going to give up their hold on power, i.e., restructure the way we tax in Louisiana?
They're not.
And lessen the power and lessen the hold and lessen the influence, ham-handed though it may be, that Baton Rouge has on you and me and the rest of us, and bring it back home and bring the dollars back home. Let the dollars stay at home, not unlike, to some great degree, our friends in Texas, who seem to be doing pretty well.
They do okay, yeah.
28 past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL traffic and weather just ahead. Do me a favor, and I'll tell you off the air. Traffic and weather updates just ahead right here on KEEL.
.101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Time to take a look at traffic. Here's Ruben.
Still seeing a little bit of slow-moving traffic on I-20 westbound. Starting at Spring and Market, it's backed up past Benton Road right now. And we have some traffic delays on Westgate Drive near Barksdale Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Sunny today, turning breezy and warmer with a high of 83. Becoming partly cloudy tonight. It'll stay breezy and milder with a low of 61. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
The first draft of the budget funds TOPS. That was one of the big amendments lawmakers approved.
This amendment restores the cuts made by the executive budget to the TOPS program and the GO grants and brings them up to the current funding levels. I think it's important now, since students are making decisions, to send a message to our students that it's our priority to fully fund TOPS and GO grants moving forward.
State Representative Franklin Foyle, however, to balance the budget and fund those programs, several sacrifices had to be made. The new budget cuts $22 million from higher ed and leaves safety net hospitals severely underfunded. Shreveport neighborhood still recovering from the weekend storms. Matt Parker with that.
It could take months for Shreveport's Queensboro neighborhood to recover from strong storms that rocked the Arklatex over the weekend. City and parish leaders are requesting a disaster declaration to help fund repairs. According to reports, hundreds of homes are still without power. It's estimated that at least 100 homes in the neighborhood sustained storm damage over the weekend. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Meantime, SWEPCO crews are working feverishly to get the juice back on. They expect to have the power restored to everyone by about 10 p.m. this evening. Over 30,000 customers were left in the dark during the storms. Bond has now been set for Jonathan Richardson. The man accused of killing Renita Williams is live on Facebook and shooting a Shreveport police officer. His bond is set at $2.5 million. Richardson is charged with second-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, and several other charges. Chief Alan Crump says Officer Robert Intrican, the officer who was wounded, is resting and expected to make a full recovery. The full House taking up a bill today that would prohibit you from holding your cell phone while driving. Opponents to the bill claim they need access to their phones at all times while driving. Many note the map feature is something they use on a regular basis while behind the wheel. But Jennifer Smith, the CEO of StopDistractions.org, says that's dangerous.
No one should be entering in an address when they're driving. Keeping focused, you are driving a 4,000-pound deadly weapon.
Officials in Bossier have lowered the speed limit on Benton Road in an attempt to reduce accidents. Officials dropped the limit from 65 to 55 on the 6-mile stretch that runs from Wemple Road to Burt Boulevard. A study from the DOTD recommended lowering the speed limit to reduce fatal crashes and increase driver safety. The U.S. Supreme Court hearing arguments in a case that has to do with a business's collection of sales taxes on online purchases. Right now, under a decades-old Supreme Court rule, if a business is shipping a product to a state where it does not have an office, a warehouse, or other physical presence, it doesn't have to collect the state's sales tax. More than 40 states say that rule is causing them to lose out on billions in tax revenues. Just how big a deal is it that Kendrick Lamar has won the Pulitzer Prize for music? The rapper has won 12 Grammys during his career, but not one of his 3 major releases has won Album of the Year. But he becomes the first non-classical or jazz artist to win the Pulitzer Prize. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
8:35, Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. It's only April, I know, but still for 2018, Matt's 6 o'clock hour statement may be the smartest thing anybody's said all year. I mean, it's not. I know in this room the bar is low, but still, this is pretty damn smart.
Yeah.
Here's what Matt said, and it has to do with the state budget and the way that it came from the House Appropriations Committee and the way they have decided to fully fund TOPS, but cut higher education and cut the Health and Hospitals Department. And here was, I even wrote this down. Here was Matt's quote. So, we're near the bottom in education nationwide. We're near the bottom in education, but we're cutting funding to the state's elementary, middle, and high schools to pay for kids' college tuition, i.e., let me paraphrase, let me sort of restate, and then you can comment. So basically what Matt is saying is we are going to take money away from the elementary, middle, and high schools. We are going to damage the preparation of our Louisiana school-age kids so that we can pay for their college. We are going to lessen their preparation for college to pay for their college. Is that basically it?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That sums it up.
Yeah, that's about it.
And nobody can somehow manage to see that. Well, my kid deserves college. Wouldn't you rather have a college worth going to than just basically an extension of the crappy high school you just left?
But even to take away money from the high school or the middle school or the elementary school to lessen the quality of that school, to pay for college that they will be less prepared for.
Yeah.
Again, we're getting the cart before the horse here. Instead of, raising kids that can function in a society and educate them as they progress through life, we're stripping away, you talk to Dr. Lamar Gorey or whoever. Well, we just don't have the money to hold on to, top-notch teachers. We're trying to wiggle some things and get grants so we can keep them here. But right now we can't pay for them. And that's because they're stripping away all the funds we need to educate our kids so we can send our kids to a higher education institute. Maybe if we started at the ground level with really good teachers and really good programs, maybe by the time they got to LSU, we could have, rocket scientists and stuff. We're missing the boat here. Yes, free college would be awesome. It would be great.
So what you're saying is basically we're trying to build a penthouse before you build the foundation.
Yes. We're trying.
Pretty much, yeah.
We're building a house with no the foundation, no basement, no first level, no staircase. But damn it, we're gonna get right to the attic, to the pinnacle of this house.
Basically, we're putting spinners on a car with no engine.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
838, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Caddo Commissioner Gerald Bowman is just a couple of seconds away. Some major damage this past weekend in Shreveport's Queensboro neighborhood. He'll bring us up to date on that. In the meantime, go to traffic and weather now. Ruben looks like he can't hold it in any longer. Here's traffic on Keel.
Still seeing a little bit of slow-moving traffic on I-20 westbound. Starting at Spring and Market, it's backed up past Benton Road right now. And we have some traffic delays on Westgate Drive near Barksdale Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, turning breezy and warmer with sunshine and a high of 83 today, remaining breezy and milder tonight, turning partly cloudy with a low of 61. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Good morning. It's 8:41. Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, 1017 FM, 710 KEEL. Always remember the KEEL app's a free download presented by Office Furniture Source. Mr. Gerald Bowman is a Caddo commissioner. Hey, Mr. Gerald, thanks for taking time with us. How are you today?
You there, Gerald? Can he not hear us?
Good morning.
Morning. How are you?
Great. Good morning to everybody this morning.
I'm hearing that Queensboro was hit really hard by the storms Friday night, Saturday morning, and we're not hearing or seeing much about it. How bad is it out there, Gerald?
It's actually pretty bad. It's gotten a little better due to the work of the city workers and SWEPCO and just people volunteering. But to the point that you mentioned about that people did not know, that's actually my neighborhood. My house was actually, we were fortunate by the grace of God not to have damage, but right next door to my house is a tree that's been uprooted, and it's all the way in the yard and into the back of my neighbor's house. And it's like that, like every other house, either there's roof damage, trees uprooted.
Every other house?
Yes, ma'am. Had some type of effect from the tornado. I mean, it was that bad. And so what got me, I can tell you, I was talking to someone from, I just say, a certain rescue disaster group, and I will say Red Cross, as soon as I was able to get in contact with them, they have been doing great, especially Miss Michelle Davis. But prior to that, I got up after the storm. I got up out of the house probably 15 minutes later when we started going door to door to some of the neighbors. Some of our neighbors had to be rescued out because the tree fell on them. But when I talked to the rescue worker, what got me was I said, don't you know it's really bad out here? And he said, well, we didn't really know. I said, well, how not? He said, well, because we go where the media goes. And he said the media was in Houghton and Bossier, and I understand that, especially with the child. And he said, we just really found out yesterday. And so I had to take them through the neighborhood because you can't see it on the main thoroughfare, on Jewel or Lakeshore. You just have to go in, and Red Cross said it was just as bad as Bossier.
Are you seeing homes that are completely destroyed, or just tree limbs down, etc.?
I'm really not seeing homes that are completely destroyed. What I have seen are homes that may not be inhabitable due to the roof caved in because of the tree. And it's so amazing that these are trees that have been here probably over 100 years, so they're big, and it's amazing to see how many that were uprooted. Or if you go through the streets, you can see how I could not get to my next block because a tree was covering the whole street on Grove Avenue.
So how is the removal of the trees? How many people have been displaced? Has repair work begun already? What's the status of that neighborhood right now?
We're preparing. We're getting power back. I did not get power in most of the residents, and I received power until yesterday. So that's 4 days without power. And then I had constituents and neighbors who called me because the night before that, it got below 32 degrees, and it was freezing. So people's food have spoiled and that type of thing. But this is also an area that has been known to have not the best crime statistics,
Sure.
And so people did not want to leave their homes.
Describe Queensboro for folks. It's up there between Hearn and Jewella, I guess, and near Willis Knight North.
Like from Independence Stadium, from Jewella, Greenwood Road to Lakeshore, all the way to Hearn, to Willis Knight. Yes, ma'am.
So what kind of help are you looking for from the city of Shreveport and you as a Caddo commissioner? What sort of assistance can that commission lend?
Oh, well, we're waiting to see now that area is trying to be declared, a disaster. That's the type, protocol we have to go through. But we are prepared to do as we have done with when we had tornado victims in Blanchard, as well as the flood victims. We worked with the Cattle Council on Aging, and they worked with also Red Cross in getting, people who may not have had even insurance, and it would help because sometimes FEMA, it takes a little while sometimes in between that, and so that helps to bridge that time lapse.
Mr. Gerald, I had asked a couple of seconds ago, and how can you put a number on how many people in the Queensboro neighborhood, how many are out of their homes, how many have been displaced?
I really don't have that number. We found out, even Red Cross was saying that they've trying to reach some of the people, but they were there anymore, because they had to get out. So we're still trying to connect with neighbors to get information. But really, the main thing that we were needing and people were needing was like tarp. We had some, and I think Red Cross is helping with that. And like in a 3300 block of Frederick, there's a lady named Miss Joanne, and she's paraplegic. And I had to climb through limbs that were already cut in order to get to her home. Her brother told me that she could not get out, and so she had not eaten, and it was such a sad situation because the food had spoiled. And I just prayed with her, and then that's when I got in contact with Miss Michelle Martin at Channel 3, and we got in contact with Miss Michelle Davis, and I said, you'll have to come out and come through the neighborhood, come on my street and see what's going on. Because
if Mr. Gerald, pardon me, if folks wanted to lend a hand, Red Cross, is there any other special funding set up that Shreveporters can help other Shreveporters?
At the moment, just Red Cross and possibly United Way, but definitely Red Cross because they're out on the scene, trying to work and connect with persons who, may be displaced or just damaged itself. That's maybe they can dwell in.
Thank you, Gerald Bowman. And folks don't know Caddo Commissioner, who's one of the guys that he doesn't do this for the publicity, but he's out every day helping people and cutting trees and getting people to safety. Thanks for what you do, sir. We appreciate it.
Thank you all so much. You all have the best day ever. I appreciate this so much.
You bet.
849, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Traffic update. Here's Ruben.
The intersection at Hearn Avenue and Greenwood Road is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we're still seeing some backed-up traffic on I-220 westbound near North Market due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, turning breezy and warmer with sunshine and a high of 83 today, remaining breezy and milder tonight, turning partly cloudy with a low of 61. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Live at KEELnews.com.
Hey there, Robert and Erin once again for Twin City Appliance, online twincityappliance.com. You know, every time I read, because they sent us the original bullet points, the copy points, and every now and then you see something that we haven't touched on in a while for Twin City Appliance, and it is this. Twin City Appliance provides factory warranty repair.
Yeah, so if you buy something new and it's still under warranty, they take care of it and they'll handle it for you.
Factory warranty repair as well. What does that say about their relationship with the big manufacturers?
Oh, they're the big guys.
It says that they are dependable, that they do a good job, that some of the big names, like, I don't know, Sub-Zero, Decor, Wolf is another one.
Oh, yeah.
That all these top dollar, these top-end manufacturers of major appliances
Highfalutin manufacturers
trust Twin City Appliance to represent them at the local level.
Don't you want the company that's trusted with the biggies to take care of your appliances? Called
the biggies.
Twin City Appliance today, 318-688-0253, or check them out online at twincityappliance.com.
I had mentioned a little while ago, 1017 FM, 710 Keel, Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty. It's 8:56, got a fly here. A post on his Facebook page by Gun Talk host Tom Gresham. It's go time. We seriously need a bunch of bodies at the legislature Tuesday morning. House committee hearing starts at 8:30, i.e. it's underway.
It is underway.
They are considering an automatic weapons ban, a 10-day waiting period on purchases, universal background check, and several other
pile of bills.
infringements on Second Amendment rights. You are looking at the video right now, and
Yes.
it looks packed up.
Oh, the room is packed. We've got State Representative Barbara Norton from Shreveport on the committee. How to contact those key lawmakers and the list of bills is at the website, KEELnews.com.
You are law-abiding citizens. Do not let them infringe on your constitutional rights. 8:57, back tomorrow morning, 6 till 9. Here's Kim Commando on Keel.
There are three major reasons to shop online, namely unparalleled convenience, tons of choices, and usually prices are lower because maybe you're not going to pay any sales tax. But the United States Supreme Court hears a case today that could wipe away the sales tax advantage in 50 years of past court rulings. Kim Commando with your Tuesday Consumer Tech Update. The year was 1967. The Supreme Court ruled that states could not force mail-order catalog companies to collect sales taxes unless the buyer actually lived in the state where the company had a location. Without knowing it, the court set the stage for the coming world of online commerce. But 2 years ago, the state of South Dakota challenged that court ruling because, in their opinion, an online presence is just as good as an old-fashioned store. Even if you don't closely follow Supreme Court cases, watch this one. Billions of dollars hang in the balance, money that will come from us. Arguments are today. Look for a ruling in June. I'm Kim Commando. The world of home security is a noisy place. There are so many different systems, each claiming to be the best. Hidden in all the confusing chatter are long-term contracts, expensive monthly fees. And then there's SimpliSafe, the security company with no long-term contract, no expensive fees, and no complex installation. This is why SimpliSafe is now the fastest-growing home security company in the country, protecting more than 2 million homes. And SimpliSafe is now even better with the all-new SimpliSafe system, with even more safeguards to protect against power outages, downed Wi-Fi, cut landlines, hammers, thugs, and everything in between. The all-new SimpliSafe is smaller, faster, and stronger than anything before. Virtually invisible, with powerful sensors so small you hardly notice them. But the bad guys will, and you still get the same low and honest price. 24/7 professional protection for your home and family for just $15 a month. Go to simplysafekim.com right now to order your new system. That's simplysafekim.com, simplysafekim.com.
Still seeing a little bit of slow-moving traffic on I-20 westbound, starting at Spring and Market. It's backed up past Benton Road right now. And we have some traffic delays on Westgate Drive near Barksdale Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, turning breezy and warmer with sunshine and a high of 83 today. Remaining breezy and milder tonight, turning partly cloudy with a low of 61. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport.